favorites. I just want to start off by saying I know I say this every single favorites video, but truly, there really is not that many products in this video. These are just like true favorites that I've been using for the past couple of weeks, but also like I really tried not to add too many new products to my collection in the month of June because I did go to California at the beginning of June to attend my sister's wedding. She got married last month and we could not be happier. But I took it as a vacation and I literally could not start off this favorites video without saying that that was my absolute favorite thing about June and also my absolute favorite thing for the entire year because it really was a much needed break for me. It was a nice celebration of me graduating finally to get my bachelor's degree. So it was just a nice, beautiful, fun, amazing trip, and I really just want to go back. But it really was just so much fun, and I'm wearing my Santa Monica, California shirt. I got this in Santa Monica Beach, and everywhere in California that we went, except for like downtown LA, is just beautiful, and it was just like a whole different vibe. Like it's just things aren't as like crazy rushed and fast paced in California as it is here in New York. Like always like on the go here. Everyone's always in a freaking rush all the time. I mean, LA drivers are a bit nuts, but honestly, like they're not like as crazy as NY drivers as I feel. I mean, NY drivers are still pretty dumb, and LA drivers are as well, but like I don't know. It was definitely bad, but NY drivers I just feel like are even worse. But like even living here for my whole life, I still could not get used to the stupidity of New York drivers, but I digress. But yeah, it was just such a wonderful experience. It was a beautiful wedding. We had the absolute best time. And I just wanted to say that that was definitely my favorite thing of the entire year. So let's move on to the makeup favorites. And again, I really just don't have too many this month. Actually, let me grab a couple of skincare ones. Hold on one second. Okay, so there are two skincare favorites that I really would like to mention, but let's start with the eyeshadow palettes like I always do. So this is probably my most used palette in June. I mean, I think I've only used it like maybe 3 to 4 times in June. But I have just been absolutely loving this palette for the summertime. And this is the Simply Posh Cosmetics Citrus Punch palette. I said citrus. I meant to say citrus punch. It's just a beautiful, punchy, gorgeous, vibrant color story for the summertime. I absolutely love the oranges and the pinks and the greens and the yellows. Just like every single look that I have done with this palette has just been some of my favorite looks that I've done in the past month. They're just such beautiful, easy to work with mattes. They're so buildable, but they're so soft. And just the way that they look on your eyes, it's just so beautiful. And then the shimmers are such a stunning duochrome shift to all of them. And they're just so easy to put on. They really don't transfer too much. And they're just stunning. Like, I will continue to rave about this palette. I am so happy that I tried this brand and that this brand was new to my collection because Annette's Makeup Corner was 100% right on why she raves about this brand because their formula is fantastic and I'm very excited to see what they come out with next. There are some palettes that are really, really pretty, but I feel like this is the only one I'm going to need for a while. I'm probably not going to pick up another eyeshadow palette for a little while. But I picked this up, I believe, the end of May, and I did use it quite a bit in June, and I just keep on enjoying the color combos that I come up with, and also it's just such an easy palette to use. My favorite look that I did this past week, well, that was July, technically, because it's literally July 9th right now. But my favorite look was the green and yellow look that I did. When I went to my friend's barbecue, I was absolutely obsessed. I used like the 2 yellows and then the green on the outer corners and this shade on the lid and this on the inner corners. and this on the lower lash line. So I just used these 6 shades and it looked so pretty. I loved it. So yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with this palette. I'm just going to swatch a couple of the shades. Yeah, the shade Tangy did get quite a bit of hard pan, but you can still swatch it and you can still see like the lemony shift to it. It's so pretty. And then Tropical is one of my favorites. It's just this really stunning like duochrome shade. And then my favorite matte is the green. I mean, I just cannot get over these shades. I forgot to grab a makeup wipe, but honestly, I don't see myself swatching too many things in this video. So those are the 3 shades. They're just so pretty. I cannot rave about this palette enough. And about this brand enough. So yeah, that is the first palette, and I just will continue to use it more. There's only 3 shades that I haven't used again, which is Tasty, Tangy, and Tangerine. So basically the 3 middle shades I haven't used again. But I've been trying to use this palette whenever I can because it's just such a beautiful palette. Okay, next up is my favorite palette of the year besides the Cosmic Brushes palette, and that is the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. It is Yucca, not Yucca palette, so excuse me for mispronouncing it. But as soon as I saw this color story from Natasha Denona, I just knew I needed to have it in my life. All of the reviews that I saw of this palette was that the mattes were very easy to work with, like I'm used to with Natasha Denona. I usually never have an issue with her matte shadows. And then, but when I saw the shimmers, when I saw people apply the shimmers and swatch the shimmers, I'm like, oh my god, they are so highly metallic and foiled that I was like, I need it. The only thing is that I wish that there was something a little bit more greener leaning when it comes to the shimmers, because this shade was really like the only one that was a little bit out of place. But it does work beautifully with the palette. Like if you decide to pair it with some of the cooler tone mattes and like the greens, it's really beautiful. So it's hard to pick a favorite shade in this palette, but I think my favorite is the shade Kamarabi because it is such a highly shiny metallic gold. And most of the shimmers in here are gold based, so it's like, well, there's like literally like 4 shimmers in here that are gold based. Like Plantasia's like more of like a, I don't even know how you would describe it. Like a metallic greenish goldy shade. This one's more very gold. This is more of like an antique gold, and this is more of like a greeny shimmery gold. The only shade that's really not is Elasian, which is a like silvery shade. But I cannot get over how highly metallic these are. They are so stunning. I'm only gonna swatch 2 of them because I literally could swatch these all day. But they have such a high shine to them, and there's so many different multi-glitters in every single shimmer. This one's the shade Kamarabi, and this is Ray. And Kamarabi has like green, almost blue, champagne-y glitters in it. And it's just so stunning. And every time I put these on the lid, I'm just blown away at how beautiful they are. They also don't really transfer that much, which that's why I like this palette and this shimmer formula over the Glaminatrix shimmers, because those ones are beautiful, but they transfer more than these do. Like those are so highly foiled and metallic, but these are similar, but I feel like these have more of like a binder to them, and they're almost more like a cream shadow that they don't transfer as much. They almost remind me of like a Super Shock from ColourPop, but they're just even more highly metallic than those are, and I feel like that's why they don't transfer as much. And the mattes are so smooth and buttery, and I'm just absolutely obsessed with them, and they're just so pigmented. Look at that yellow shade. So that one is Citrine and this one is Willow. Citrine's probably my favorite matte shade. It's just such a stunning yellow, and I really love this color combo. I feel like I have to do that at some point. Well, actually, I have used these 2 shades together. I just used them 2 days ago, and it was beautiful. So I'm obsessed with this palette, and I'm going to continue to get more use out of it. I've used it about 7 times at this point. I've used all the metallics, and they are super stunning. I used this like 4 days in a row when I first got it, and I absolutely loved it. So the only shade I still need to use is Camu Camu, but I'm just obsessed with this palette, so I need to use that shade at some point. But yeah, so that is the Yucca palette. Okay, then next up is the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes today. Now, I'm not completely in love with this palette, but I like it. So this is the Nomad Cosmetics Okavango Safari palette. So, of course, I needed to get this palette because it is a neutral color story from Nomad. And I'm absolutely in love with the packaging of this one. I loved like the sunset packaging on the front of the outer packaging. And I love this like leopard print, soft kind of fabric packaging, but it feels like so nice, and it doesn't feel like it would get too dirty that easily. Like, it doesn't feel that similar to like the Anastasia fabric kind of. It's kind of more like plasticky, but it's made very well, if that makes any sense. So the thing with this palette is that I like it. I'm just not like completely thrilled with this palette. And it's so funny because like I guess I need interesting neutrals in order to be wowed at this point. And I do really like the looks that come out of it, but I feel like the matte shades are a bit thinner than what I'm used to from Nomad. They're not as pigmented and punchy as even the Hudson Valley palette. That's not even my favorite Nomad palette. I find that the quality in that palette is better than this one. I would say this one is might be on the same level as the Feats de Provence palette quality-wise, because I kind of get that similar powdery, thinner matte formula from that palette as well. So I kind of feel like it's similar to that. There's also quite a bit of kick up in some of the shades, and also it does take a little bit of building to get some of these neutrals to build, but the more and more I use this palette, the more and more I do enjoy it. My favorite shades are actually the green shades. I was absolutely obsessed with the green look that I did with this palette, so I used this shade in the crease, and then I darkened it up with this one, and then I put this on the outer corners and this all over the lid, and it was such a gorgeous look. I really want to do that look again. I just haven't had the chance to. I was actually going to wear it yesterday, but then my plans changed, so I wore a different look. But, like, the metallics are nice, but they're not, like, I just was not blown away by this palette like I was with the Verona palette and the Royal Europe palette. And I have picked up every single Nomad release this year. So this is literally the 3rd palette they've released this year, and I've picked up every single one. And I like it, and I have no regrets having it. It's just like every time I use it, I'm like, it's not like I couldn't get this look out of another palette that I already own, but that's the thing with neutrals, is that how many different neutrals could you actually have? So maybe I didn't necessarily need this palette, but I have been enjoying it enough that I don't regret buying it. But it's like, did I really need it? No, I didn't. But since Nomad does not really do neutrals that often, I really wanted to get it because of that. So, hold on one second. My mom just got home. Okay, so yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the Nomad palette. It's pretty. I did do a couple of looks, though, that I really enjoyed, like the past Get Ready With Me that I uploaded with this palette. I loved that look because I used like these cooler tone colors, and then I popped this shade all over the lid called Migrating Zebras. This one's a really pretty silver shade. I don't know if it already has some hard pan, but that was some of people's issue with this palette, is that the shimmers do get hard pan, but I haven't had any issues with them, and I always use my fingers anyway. So this one's Migrating Zebras, and this one's Nile Crocodile. And then let's swatch one of the matte shades. And that's such a beautiful green. That one's the shade Vumbura Plains. So yeah, they're good, but I'm not like absolutely over the moon about this palette. But I do like it. I think I'm going to do so those are the 3 shades. I think I'm going to do a Nomad ranking video at some point because now I do own 6 palettes from Nomad. So yeah, I like it, but I'm definitely going to use it more. And I do like the selection of mattes in here quite a bit. There's definitely nothing that is missing as far as the mattes go in this palette. There's enough depth and dimension with this color, and this color. So I'm glad we get some depth out of those. And then like all of the other ones are very mid-toned, which is working for me. And even this green like built up a lot of definition as well. So yeah, and actually this shade, sorry, I keep on remembering, oh, what I'm wearing on my eyes today. And I also really like this shade Keystone Termites. It's such an unexpected shade, but it's so beautiful on the lids. So what I'm wearing is I used Elusive Leopards in the crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Pack of Wild Dogs. And then I used Honking Hippos on the outer corners. And then I used Mighty Buffaloes on the lid. And then I used the shade Keystone Termites on the inner corners. And I really like how it turned out. It's really pretty. So that shade Mighty Buffaloes is very, very sparkly, very pretty shade. So yeah, that is the Nomad palette. Then the last palette I wanted to mention is the Ace Beauté Aura palette. I did try and use this a couple of times this past month as well. And this palette is so easy and beautiful to use. I really have been enjoying this one as well. I believe I mentioned it in my May favorites as well, but I just wanted to talk about it again. I did also mention it in my summer palettes video, so I've mentioned it quite a bit, but I just did the purple look with this palette in my summer palettes video, so that's the look that I'm wearing in it. And I used the shade Halo again. It's just such a stunning lavender gold. It's definitely my favorite shade in the palette, and these purples are so beautiful. And these reds mixed with the, I kind of almost want to do a red purple look at some point. I think that would be kind of cool. And then these mustardy tone neutrals, just like the color story is so stunning, and the shimmers are so insanely pigmented. They really are stunning. Let me swatch the red. I don't really swatch the red metallic as much, but look at those. They're just so pretty. I really want to do a red look again with this palette, so I think that's the next look I want to do again. So that's the shade Entrance, that's the shade Gleam, and that's the shade Sunburst. So they're just really easy to work with mattes, and the metallics are so highly metallic and shiny and smooth. And yeah, I really have just been enjoying this palette a lot, and I do want to use it again soon. So that one is the Ace Beauté palette. So those are all the palettes that I wanted to talk about. And then I just have 2 foundations to mention. Honestly, I think I've mentioned this foundation every month since I've gotten it, but I did use this probably the most out of all my foundations in the month of June because I brought this to California with me. And this one was just absolutely perfect for the California weather, and it gave me like the look to my skin that I exactly wanted and what I was exactly looking for. I wanted like a glowy, dewy complexion without being too dewy, and that's the Makeup by Mario foundation in the shade 1C. This is the Surreal Skin foundation. I got so many compliments on my makeup when I wore this foundation. My sister loved it on me, and I just think that it makes my complexion look so beautiful. It makes it look a bit similar to what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing the e.l.f. Halo Glow, which is another one of my favorite summer products right now. But this foundation, it's just so lightweight and it's so easy to wear, and I just don't have to think about like really what my skin looks like with this. It just always looks beautiful. So I've been absolutely loving it, and this was just so perfect to bring with me. I actually finally wore it again yesterday. I don't think I've worn it since my California trip, and I just remember how beautiful it is on my skin. And then the other foundation I wanted to shout out was the Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear foundation. This is the foundation that I brought with me to wear for the wedding because my skin still wasn't doing like 100%. Like it was definitely way better than it was, but what is going on? I don't know why she's barking. And this one's in the shade 090 Ivory Neutral, and it actually expires this month, but I think it'll be totally fine for me to use up. But But yeah, I used this the rehearsal dinner day and the day of the wedding, and it looked still so good by the end of the night. I mean, I didn't really pay too much attention to what my face looked like by like 10:30. I had my makeup on from 10:30 in the morning till 1:30 in the morning the next day. Like Saturday night / Sunday morning. So I had my makeup on for a good 12 hours plus, and yeah, like almost 14 hours. And right, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. No, 10 to 10 would be 12 hours. Like 15 hours. And this just holds up like a champ. It's still my holy grail favorite foundation. But also the reason why I brought my own foundation and my own concealer is because, and my own primer, because I had her use the Say primer on me. And she did say that the Say primer was a little bit too glowy, but she also like powdered my skin, so like it still looked, the Say primer made this look so beautiful. Like it still gave me a slight glow, but made my complexion look just so healthy. Then I'm glad that that was the one I used, because it's just such a stunning product. And it didn't really make this like wear off any faster because it's a gel, it's not a liquid. It's more like a gel. I mean, it is a liquid, but it's not like a glittery metallic kind of highlighty kind of product. But anyway, this held up amazingly. So I wanted, the reason why I brought my own is because my doctor did tell me at the urgent care that you should probably use your own face products. So that's why I brought both of them with me, and I'm glad that I did, because I know this foundation does not break me out, or I do not have a reaction to it. So I'm glad I brought this, because I honestly didn't want her to use a different foundation on me. I wanted a foundation that I know that I can trust. So yeah, that was it for foundations. And then I just wanted to mention this concealer again, because this is probably the concealer I've used the most this month. I brought this to California with me as well, and I used this, I think, almost 3 times in California. I think I used it on Wednesday night and I used it on Sunday. Actually, no, I used this 3 times because I used it. I keep on saying I used this. I used this on Wednesday night, Thursday for Universal, and Sunday, the last day we were there. So this was the concealer I was using the most besides my Tarte one. I used the Tarte one. Used the Tarte one for the rehearsal dinner and for the wedding day, because that's my favorite all-time concealer. My all-time favorite concealer. But this one is just such a beautiful concealer. It's so easy to use. It's so creamy. It's so lightweight, but it gives you such beautiful coverage and it lasts such a long time. It doesn't really crease that much, so I absolutely love it. So this was really, those were the only 2 concealers I brought with me, and that's all I needed because they're my tried and true favorites. All right, let's get into one more face product. I just wanted to shout out my ColourPop Pretty Fresh powder. This was the only powder that I brought with me, and I used it every single day. Honestly, I'm so glad I just brought this one. Like, my skin did not feel dry whatsoever using this. This is my all-time favorite powder. I cannot believe I have such pan in it again. This is my second one of it. I still have the first one in front of me because I was going to try and use it up completely. But honestly, like, I mean, it pretty much is used up completely. But, like, there's, like, a tiny bit left on the side of it. Oh, my God, this mirror's driving me nuts right now. And it's just literally, like, the tiniest amount right here. So I'm just going to get rid of it because, like, honestly, it's like not even usable anymore. So clearly I've already been using the new one. And I already had pan on it again. I mean, granted, there really isn't that much product in here, to be honest. I think it's 8.5 grams. How much is the Dior one? The Dior one is 11 grams. And the Urban Decay one, excuse me, is 6 grams, 0.21 ounces. So this one is a little more, which is actually pretty funny. But anyway, and this one's like half the price of the Urban Decay one. But anyway, I love it. I use it all the time, and this was the only powder that I needed, and I'm so happy that that's the one that I brought with me. So, and then I wanted to mention just a couple of cheek products, and that's really it, to be honest. I wanted to shout out the Half Magic Beauty products that I got because I'm already loving them. So this one is the Cheek Fluff Soft Blur Blush in the shade Don't Be a Doll. And this one is such an interesting formula. It's kind of similar to ColourPop Super Shock blushes. It's kind of like a cream to powder, but it's kind of like a powder cream. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels so powdery, but also feels very creamy. So it's kind of like a hybrid. But this is such a beautiful formula, and it lasts a really long time on the skin because it's more of like a cream, but it doesn't feel like a straight up cream. So I really have been enjoying it. I've used it a couple of times, and I really want to use it a bit more, but I really love the shade, and I really like this formula, so I wanted to mention that one. That's really the only blush that I have to talk about. And then the highlighter as well. This is the Light Trap Duochrome Glow Powder in the shade Enter the Glow. And this is what it looks like for the packaging. And this one is such a stunning highlighter. This is definitely like the star of the show. It's just so highly beautiful and metallic. Highly metallic and beautiful, I mean. And it's just so stunning. I absolutely love it. There's like a ton of multi-glitters in here. It's like purple and gold and silver, and it's just so gorgeous. And it's such a lightweight, beautiful product on the cheeks. It doesn't look like it's like super glittery, but it's also beautifully pigmented, but it's not like over the top. It's just so highlighty and magical. I'm gonna pop on a little bit actually. I'm wearing my ColourPop highlighter today, or one of my ColourPop highlighters. But I just wanted to show you like how much more it adds. Like, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just super pretty. So yeah, I just figured I would just add some on top. I've already used it a couple of times, but I just wanted to show you guys like how metallic it is, and it's just so beautiful on the face. So yeah, I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to use it more. I've used this twice as well, but obviously I want to get some more use out of it. But I'm definitely super impressed with the Half Magic Beauty products. And then only two lippies, but, well, only two lip products, but they're also both the Half Magic Beauty products that I got, and I really, really love both of them. So the first one is the Half Magic Sculptitude 2-in-1 Lip Liner in the shades Hot Potato and Ballerino. These are so creamy. I've only used both of them once, but I've used them both I've used them both times with the lippy that I'm going to show you from Half Magic Beauty. So this one is Ballerino, which is a lighter nude, and this one is Hot Potato, which is more of like a medium toned nude. It's such a creamy, easy lip liner to use, and I'm so happy that I got it as the lip duo because it's definitely a better deal. But it's just really, really nice and easy to use, and I really, really like this lip liner formula. And then the lipstick is the Half Magic Mouth Cloud in the shade Mr. Cheeky Pants. This is such a beautiful, moussey, comfortable lip formula, and I really, really love how it glides on the lips, and it's just so smooth. And it's just such a beautiful, comfortable formula. And I really, really love the color as well. So I really have enjoying this too. And it lasts quite a long time as well. But it's just so comfortable and easy to apply. So I really love that. And then the last makeup product, I just wanted to shout out this Jaclyn Hill highlighter palette. I don't support Jaclyn Hill anymore, but I've had this palette for a couple of years now. And this is mainly the highlighter palette that I used and this is the only highlighter palette that I brought with me to California, and these highlighters were absolutely perfect for the looks that I was going for. I ended up using all four of them, and I just ended up mixing together like these two and these two, which is what I usually do, but they're so, so stunning. Her quality definitely has went down throughout the past couple of years, but the shiny metallicness of this palette is definitely not, it's not the same caliber as it used to be. This was definitely like her best formula for highlighters. They're so ridiculously beautiful and just make your skin look so ethereally beautiful. Kind of similar to like the Hourglass highlighters, but these are just stunning. So I'm so glad that I brought this palette with me. For some reason, I just couldn't get it out of my mind to bring this one with me. I also brought her blush palette with me because I absolutely love that one as well, but I only used it once for one shade. I mostly used my Pat McGrath blushes when I was there, and my Giorgio Armani blush. I didn't even really use the Jaclyn Hill one. I used the highlighters though, and I loved how they looked. Okay, just two skincare products. The first one is the cleanser that my doctor told me to get so my face could clear up. I was on an antibiotic called prednisone. I was on Claritin. I was on Benadryl. Claritin during the day, Benadryl at night, and then I was also using this cleanser along with Aquaphor. So the cleanser that she told me to get was the Aveeno Common Restore Redness Relief Sensitive Skin Foaming Cleanser. And oh my god, this cleanser is probably my favorite cleanser that I've ever used. It's just so ridiculously gentle on the skin. It's very, very gentle and smooth. Your skin does not feel irritated at all after you use it. It's completely unscented. And I just have never really used foaming cleansers before. I was always such a tried and true for the Ole Hendrickson vitamin C cleanser, but after I finally have a dermatologist appointment, because I want to follow up with my dermatologist to see like what skincare I'm going to be able to use at this point, because I pretty much have still only been using this along with the Aquaphor and my SPF CeraVe moisturizer. That's the only other thing I've incorporated back into my skincare, because I wanted to use a moisturizer still. I didn't use it at all in California, but over the past 2 weeks I've been using my CeraVe moisturizer again, and it's been absolutely fine because I've been using that product for years. But I absolutely love this, so I highly recommend this. I mean, I am not a esthetician, but I highly recommend this for anyone who has sensitive skin, or maybe if you get a little bit of redness. This is so amazing, and this really helped my skin throughout that whole process. So I really, really love that. And then I have to give a shout out to Aquaphor. This is literally a miracle worker. I don't think I will ever buy Vaseline again. That's how much I love Aquaphor as compared to Vaseline, because Vaseline is more, I mean, it is like a gel-like kind of consistency, but with the Aquaphor, it just feels more absorbent in your skin, but it also sits on your skin for a couple of hours. So your skin can really like, it's a healing ointment, so it's supposed to like, you know, heal your skin, but it's just amazing because I like that it's in a tube as well, so it's a lot more sanitary than using Vaseline and like putting your fingers in there. But I think that's the whole reason why I got a rash on my face, because I was using expired Vaseline and I didn't even realize it until it was like completely done, and I kept on putting it on my face. So Aquaphor is definitely going to be the way to go for me. So yeah, that's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this favorites video. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. Let me know what your favorites were this month, and did you try any of these products? I would love to know. And I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.